Shanti Om, and welcome. Vincent here. This morning, or whatever time of day you're going to play this back, I'm going to do some work with the hips, opening the hips, adjusting the hips so we can get good balance when we walk, when we run, and to prevent excess muscle tightening and discomfort when we sit down. A hip opener is always a hip activator. Our hips are never, ever sleepy when we are awake and sitting. Even sitting is an active movement of sorts. So we start out just tucking the left foot into the right thigh with the right leg extended. And just lifting. Inhale up and exhale down. Lifting the left leg up and down. It's not a contest to reach the floor. It's not a contest to see how far up you can go. Mobility is developed in time. We seek to make rhythm. The lift initiates in your hip socket with the help of the inner thigh and your lower abs, the lower left-hand corner of your stomach. You feel your abs as part of the process. And coming to a stop there, just take your hands down next to your hips and then put them a little wider than your hips. Just pick up the leg and move it around. Move the bent leg around using the same muscles you're using when you're walking, except right now the pelvis is more still. But notice the pelvis does move. Its movement is reacting to the movement of your hip. If we put a little squeeze in that hip, we can control the movement of the pelvis so that it flows with the movement of your leg. And that's what we're seeking, is that connection. We'll bring down the left foot, extend the left leg, tuck the right foot in. Do the same movement again, inhaling up and exhaling down. A teacher I had, and all I remember was his name is Phil, and he's an architect by full-time trade and lives and works in Denver. He liked to use the expression mambo the hips. So, Phil, if you're out there, hello, and thanks for many good hours of instruction. Mamboing the hips means they're always ready for action. They are ready to move. So your hip is not sleepy. It's really impossible to pick up the bent leg in this position without active hips, active inner thighs. We've got that hip and inner thigh working with the lower abs on the right side of your stomach. Let's take it to a stop there. Once again, bring the hands down, they're hip width apart, so they're still aligned with the hips as we take them out a few inches. And just circle the leg around. Draw an ellipse or a circle that allows you to stay coordinated in your movements. This might fatigue you kind of quickly. We do this all the time when we're walking, but not consciously lifting the weight of the leg like this to such an extent. So it's a bigger challenge. We bring it back down. Taking the palms to the knees and bring your right hip forward. So we turn the torso, that hip comes forward and leftward. We bring it back to the other side. Exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. So the pelvis is moving. And you look at my knees. They pivot along with the torso. When my right hip comes forward, my right knee comes forward. I pull it back, the knee comes back. And then we see the left side shift. Active hips. So it's as if your hip is pushing through your leg. It's pushing the leg forward, like we're pushing right through the knee when we come forward. And your hip is pulling the leg back. We want to be active in the hips, in the glutes. Keep that movement coordinated, connected, glutes, hips, lower abs. Let's take it into a Kundalini twist so we can warm up a bit more. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. If we want, we can add a Kundalini chant to our movement just for a moment that helps rev up the body, connecting to the universal energy around us. We simply say, Ha, Hari, 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 Ha, Hari. A few more of those. Coming to a stop. Purging what we don't need. Push the breath all the way out. Pulling in what we do need. Spine moves, pelvis moves. Pelvis spinning in those hip sockets. Be sure to empty the lungs completely. Push all that air out. Toxins and viruses love to camp out in the bottom lobes of your lungs. So does bacteria. The virus is the biggest thing on our minds right now. But all three of those things love to hang out in the bottom lobes of your lungs. And if we don't huff and puff and flush those lungs out, stuff can camp out there for up to 10 days. And that's how viruses can incubate in our bodies. Just one way. But if we purge our lungs, and I'll be running some videos on breath control later in the week. Several times so we can learn those techniques together, do those exercises together. We can purge our lungs on a regular basis and reduce the risk of viral infection, bacterial infection, as well as removing chemical pollutants before they can have negative impact on our bodies. So push all that air out. And we're going to stand on up on our mats in a familiar pose, downward dog. Now the down dog is a common transitional pose. We have our hands shoulder width apart, and we bring our feet hip width apart. If we're not sure about that alignment, simply take a look. My ankle, my knee, my hip. Look right down the arms. And remember, mamboing those hips. They are ready for action. Like a football player ready to pounce at the line. Ready to move and pile into the player on the other side. They are always ready for action. The muscles are like springs, ready for movement. Now, we're not moving as aggressively as that football player, but we're moving with the same precise thought. Those folks know how to use that energy and go in the exact direction they're supposed to go in to play their position right. Well, our position, downward facing dog. Let's pick up that right leg, make it a three-legged dog. Where are our hips here? Let's make sure the right hip is right next to the left hip, and then let's pick up the right hip. Pull the right foot toward the body, toward your back, stacking your hips, and then bring it back to our three-legged dog. Inhale to your chest with your knee. We feel the hip shift. Let's come back out again. So the hips are square next to each other. Pull your right foot to your back, and then the hips stack. So we have that hip opening up wide. We bring it back, pull it to the chest. Nice and strong. Pull it right in. We're going to take a little rest in our full downward dog. So we're pushing through our heels. Even if they're not reaching the floor, we're pushing through the heels and pushing down behind each toe. Nice and strong. We're going to take a quick rest. Just walk it to the top of the mat. Catch your elbows and dangle. Pick the pelvis up, stretching your hamstrings. Inhaling strong with the stretch. Push the breath all the way out of the lungs. Just keep these big breaths going throughout our movement this morning. So we're going to bring those hands back down. We'll do a little more work on this right side. Pick up that foot. Set it into your left thigh. Remember we did this on the floor. Now this is like a tree pose combined with your down dog pose. And that knee might be over here. We might be able to bring it back here. Depends on the length of those abs, those inner thighs, and the mobility in your hips. We can move it around and take a look at our degrees of mobility. See where we are. See what our bodies are doing. We're going to release back out. We're going to step that right foot forward into our traditional lunge. Because we're talking about hip action and a lunge. The common lunge that we transition from pose to pose, we see that going real fast. When we do vinyasa yoga, power yoga, stuff I love to do. It's not the end-all be-all. I've never met a yoga pose or a yoga method that I didn't like. Let's just practice lowering down. We can even take it to a kneeling lunge, but keep the toes curled under, because I'm not going to stay here too long. Practice swiveling the pelvis. To illustrate that movement a bit more, we can take it to a side bend, as if my back was against a glass wall, so we're not going to fall forward out of my lunge. Ankle, knee, still aligned with the hip on both sides. I'm going to bring it back. Bring the hands down. So we're framing the foot. Got the hand next to the ankle. We're framing the ankle on both sides. Pick it up. We'll step it up. Exhale it up. Let's just inhale it up. Take a little bit of a back bend. We're going to work on back bends this week too. So stay tuned. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel, Vincent Gerino, or just watch, if you're friends with me on Facebook, for posted links there. More to come. Inhale those hands up. Let's dive it down. We're going to step back into our downward dog. So we can do that work on the other side, and then we'll be finished with this routine this morning. It's a great launch into your yoga practice. Whatever else you feel like doing this morning for your workout. Let's get that left foot up there. So we're in our three-legged dog. We flatten the back. We pull the navel up toward the spine. Flatten the back. We've got our three-legged dog. Now we pick up the left hip, stack it over the right. And pull that left foot toward the body. Still pulling that breath deep in and push that breath all the way out. When you push that breath out and pull it in, it's going to help you with your movements, help you engage. The abs especially, pull that breath all the way in. Push that breath all the way out. On your next exhale, let's extend that leg back into three-legged dog. Inhale right to the chest. So we've got our folded three-legged dog. Exhale it back out. And let's stack the left hip over the right again. Pull that foot toward the body, toward the back. Deep breath in. Exhale all the way out. Let's do that one more time. To the chest and then exhale it back out. Stack the hips. So we're moving those hips. Bring it back. All right, we're going to lunge that left foot forward. This is a good video to train yourself for safe, effective, fun power yoga. And I'd love to do some power yoga with you. I can even make a custom video for you. There'll be more information posted about that later on as well. Lots of exciting things happening this week. We're going to take it down deep into that lunge. We can kneel it down if we want to. Keep that navel pulled toward the spine. We pull that navel into the spine. It helps tip the pelvis back up this way, preventing compression of your spine. All right. Let's bring it back. Frame the foot with the hands. So we're framing the ankle with the hands. Picking that knee up. We're going to bring it back to our downward dog one last time. How we doing? We're almost done here. We'll bring it right down. And bring it to Thunderbolt just for a moment. We did a lot of stretching of the back side. So just 2 more poses and we're all done. We just did our lunges. So here we're doing a kneeling lunge. Coming into our kneeling lunge. Kick that back foot to the floor and bring it back so we can get some good distance here. Now remember, we practiced lifting and lowering. Active inner hips. This is really good work for the inner hips. Getting them coordinated. Notice when we squeeze the hips and lift, it pulls the lower abs in, gets them working with them. We're going to finish here with a little stretch for the front side, and that's our lizard pose. So we want this leg slid back here so that we come up, the kneecaps pointing out instead of being up here way on the ground and bearing all the weight of this half of the body. Another little trick we can do is to fold our yoga mat to make some padding underneath. And if you're replaying this video, so I'm going to leave it posted, you can always get a pillow and put it there. There are yoga pads you can use too. But we seek to pull the foot toward the body. And remembering again, our yoga strap, if we need extra reach. We do want that thigh. We do want that thigh to scream a bit. As long as we go slow, you really can't hurt yourself here. As always, check with your doctor regarding any exercise routine. If we go slow with this, we really can't injure the thigh. Slow and careful. Football players can do those aggressive moves fast and not get hurt because they practice them constantly. And that's the same way we learn to do crazy yoga contortions. Pretty much anyone can learn to do just about any pose. We're going to get that right foot forward so we can finish with our front stretches. So this foot's back here. If it's way here and you're feeling heavy on the kneecap, well, let's just inchworm that back a bit. Hands frame the ankle of the front foot. This leg is active. We're never collapsing our body weight down into our hips. Never, never, never. We're always ready to lift, just like the football player, ready to lunge forward over that line of scrimmage. Pull the foot toward the body now. We practice this in our down dog. Hips are active in every direction. Left hand down under left shoulder, right hand to the left foot. Yeah, that's how I might scream a bit. Might be shouting good morning, guten Morgen. It might not be saying something quite so nice, because this is a wicked, intense stretch. Let's just remember not to let the body weight fall. I can scream as loud as it wants to. As long as we have got a little bit of squeeze in the hips, keeping them active, prevents hyperextension of the hips. We really can't hurt the thigh. Let's bring that back. We're going to come back to kneeling position. If you're caring for herniated discs or squash discs in the back, probably not going to go past right here. We get a frontal stretch by pulling the front ribs up, expanding the distance between the bottom of the rib cage and your waist. We put some tightening into the glutes. Squeeze the thighs onto the bones gently. The thigh muscles hug the bones, because a back bend is a front stretch. The spine is not going to change length. It's only going to change shape. So do not compress your back. Do not try to compress your back so you can come down fancy like this. Do not do that. We can support the pelvis with the hands. Never shove the pelvis forward with the hands. The pelvis anchors itself against the hands, and it dictates to the hands so that we keep the back safe. All right, we'll finish with our supported bridge. This one's generally safe. When we do the initial first stage, it will not make any compression of the spine. We keep our feet hip width apart. Bring the heels right up to the buttocks. On the tops of your shoulder blades, anchor them into the floor. So we're going to pick up the abdomen, using the abs, using the glutes, using the thighs. Bring your hands right underneath your body. Interlace your fingers. We're going to spin the shoulders backward, digging the tops of the shoulder blades gently into the floor. This is the safest back bend in the world because it's all going by lifting. And it's safe because we can't compress the spine when we're lifting from the top, pushing down through your heels. It actually relieves the back. Back is just having a cup of coffee here. Not a lot of work to be done. The back muscles are active, but they're just quiet guides. We can come up as far as we want to go. We're going to revisit this pose later this week in our back bend series. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to having you join me for that. So definitely message me, email me. Exhale down slowly. You can relax and meditate right here. Take this wherever you want to go to your next yoga session, another workout, or whatever you got to do today. I got to go to work after this. I'll sit up. You don't have to sit up. As I say, farewell for now. Just a quick chant as a well wish to all the world's people. We're all facing a challenge together. And let's maintain that spirit once this viral crisis has passed. Loka samasta sukhinu bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhinu bhavantu. Shanti Om, my friends. Namaste.